Hello again, guys. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good day. Um, right, so what I wanted to talk about today, I went out on Saturday, the weekend just gone, and I was with my girlfriend, and we were sitting by the river having a drink. It was a nice day, um, which again is um, one of the real bonuses of sobriety, which may sound a little bit funny because even when you were drinking, you could do that. That's not a problem, but in sobriety to be able to go and do something as simple as that, just have a day out with your girlfriend, knowing that it's not going to end in you either hitting someone or getting so drunk that you're an embarrassment to yourself and to everyone else. It's those little things that when you find yourself living a normal life, just a normal everyday life, it really does, going from the one life, the alcoholic life, to the sober life is, you know, it's just those little things. They really, really mean a lot. But she quite often asks me questions about my alcoholism, and I can't always answer them. I do struggle sometimes to. I think I've heard it said before that by another alcoholic that we think we know everything, but we don't. So she asked me about. She said, "Well, how were you an alcoholic if you were still working and you had relationships and X Y Z?" And the only answer I could give her is that alcoholism is a progressive illness. You don't start, a tramp on a park bench. You don't start with a wet brain. You don't start with, you've lost everything. It's progressive, and I started, as I've said before, 3 pints a weekend. I was just a normal teenager trying out drinking with my mates, and I didn't really feel like at the very, very early stages, didn't feel like I had a problem, but it changed very quickly. Once I got a taste for it, it really did. By the time I was 16, I was already, I've said, going to my first meetings. So she was asking me, how is it a progressive illness? And like I say, it's difficult to explain sometimes, or it's difficult to help other people picture what progressive really means. Now, in the conversation we were having, we were talking about somebody else as well, who she has concerns about them being an alcoholic. And I said, well, I can't say whether that person is or isn't. It's literally not my place to say, because I don't know why they're drinking. I don't know why they drink. I don't know how they drink. So I can't sort of diagnose somebody else as an alcoholic. The only person who can diagnose themselves as an alcoholic really is an alcoholic, or I suppose maybe a doctor. But we were sort of discussing this whole idea of progressiveness, or the progressiveness of the illness. And I was trying to explain to her how much my life had changed, how I had gone from that 3 pints at 15 to 6 or 7 pints at 16, going to my first meetings, to various incidents of alcoholic rage and fighting people, or missing work, simple things like missing work, relationships falling apart, actively causing the breakup of relationships because of your behaviour, which I did more than once. And I knew that this was not going to sort of start fading away and getting better. This was only ever going to get worse. Fortunately, I had some experience of alcoholism through family members. So, and I'd been to a couple of AA meetings. So I kind of knew how it worked and how it was going to go, And like I say, you don't start off with a wet brain, but once you've seen somebody with a wet brain, you know, that's that's a bit of a wake up call. Now, I will say this: when I woke up in a police station I think I was in my mid-20s. When I woke up in a police station being told that I was being charged with attempted murder, you would think that that would be rock bottom. You would think that that would be the day that you said, right, I need to sort this out. When I went back to be charged at the police station and I wasn't charged, I walked out of the police station, a massive sigh of relief, and went straight to the pub. I'd literally just walked straight into the nearest pub and got drunk. And that's kind of, to any logical brain, any logical person, you'd be like, why would you not have just stopped at that point? Well, because I'm an alcoholic. And, you know, your time is your time. Your rock bottom is your rock bottom. And it doesn't have to be being charged with a crime. It doesn't have to be losing a marriage or your kids or anything like that. It could be whatever it is. In my case, rock bottom was a girlfriend saying to me, if you don't stop drinking, we're going to split up. Plus a number of other things that at that time made me want to stop. So I feel like I'm going around the houses now. I'm sort of making two films in one, where I'm talking about, you know, the progressiveness of the illness, but at the same time talking about other things. But be under no illusion that if you continue to drink, your drinking will never get better. It will only ever get worse, right? It's never ever going to go the opposite direction. It's going to go fast forward into the direction you don't want it to go. You will lose relationships. You may lose your kids. You will probably lose your home if you have one, which I did a couple of times. You know, I lost where I was living through my drinking. You'll lose your job. And the thing is, none of those things, rock bottom is a very specific thing. It's your rock bottom. So none of those things, as massive as they are, will be enough potentially to make you stop. They might be your rock bottom, but it's never what people think they are. You know, rock bottom is generally a very personal thing. So don't sort of think, oh well, you know, it will take something massive to make me stop, because it won't. It will. Either you won't stop and you'll eventually die one way or another, or you will stop through reaching a rock bottom that is very specific to you. That's my feeling. With regard to the progressiveness, if you've ever watched, I believe there's a documentary on YouTube. I'll try and find the link for it and I'll put it in this film, that was filmed in a wet brain kind of hostel in the 80s maybe, or the 90s, and all the people there had wet brain. And so it's very difficult to say, because it's always a very personal journey, if you like, alcoholism. I can never say that that's where you're going to end up. You may not end up there. You may not get to that point. You know, you may be lucky enough, like me, that you find the sort of what you need to stop. You may end up dead. You may end up in prison. You know, X, Y, Z. There could be any number of things that stop you getting to that point. So I'm not saying that's definitely what's going to happen. But what I'm saying is, that's kind of where the end of the line is. When you see people that literally cannot function on a day-to-day basis without alcohol. They cannot even... It's actually dangerous for them not to drink. it's physically dangerous to them not to drink. It can cause seizures and all kinds of things like that. So, as I said at the start of this film, it is kind of difficult for me sometimes to explain things because I can only explain them from my own personal point of view or perspective. But that's kind of the purpose of this channel, is that I'm just a normal geezer trying to explain to you, or trying to help in any way, trying to give you something that might make you, or might help you reach that point where you say, right, I need to stop. I need to get this together. So, the bottom line, what I'm trying to really say, in a very, as usual, roundabout, long-winded way, is that your alcoholism will only go one way. It will only ever get worse, and ultimately it will kill you. Okay, and the purpose of this film is just to say, or just to make it clear to anyone that needs help or advice with this, is that be under no illusion. This is progressive. Your illness is progressive, and it will not go the other way. You will not get better. I'm not going to say that Alcoholics Anonymous is the only way you'll get sober. It's worked for other people to do other things. As always, I'm very clear that all I'm doing is saying things from my perspective, what worked for me, and in the hope that they may work for you if you choose to do them. But yeah, the purpose of this film is just quickly to say, to make you aware that you're not gonna suddenly wake up one morning and be able to drink normally. You're just not. It's never going to happen. In fact, what's going to happen is it's going to get worse. You'll go from the evening drinking to the morning drinking to the being drunk through the day because you were so drunk the night before, which is what I used to do all the time. You will start doing other things potentially. You'll use alcohol as a gateway to other things because you'll get to a point where you just want to get off your nut on something, which is again what I did. Alcohol became not enough. I needed more. So, my path was only going one way, and yours will too, because it's what we see again and again. So, sorry, it's a bit of a doom and gloom film, this one, and I don't want it to be. I just want you to, if you're unaware, I want you to be aware of where this is headed and how important it is for you to take that first step of going to a meeting or phoning AA and or even just watching my channels and asking me and asking me questions. Please do, please ask questions. If you've got any questions, if I can help in any way by answering them, if you want to know about something that I might know something about, please ask. The comments are going to be hugely important to this channel because otherwise it's just me talking about what I want to talk about. And really, it's for you. It's for whoever's out there that isn't sober yet, who wants to be sober. So yeah, we'll leave it there. And, like I say, take that on board or, do what you want with it, really. But hopefully I'll see you again.